people are tired of the way things are going, and tired of the right side. So they're coming out more. I'm being more vocal. I have friends that are being more vocal, and I'm telling all my friends that privately text me. I'm like, hey, put your views out there, man. We need more people to speak up and speak out against that. So as I go around, I find that there's a lot more people that are willing to listen, and not just stick in their trenches on this one side. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alabama Politics This Week, David Person, Josh Moon, and the gentleman that is on the screen, for those of you who can see it, is Jessie Barcala. He is running for to be in the Alabama House of Representatives, District 5, and we are glad to always feature progressive Democratic candidates. Well, actually, we're open to anybody. But definitely we love it when progressive Democratic candidates come and join us. And notice I said Democratic, not Democrat. I hate that.
Right.
I absolutely I despise that. Democratic.
I think that's why some people use it.
Yes, to piss me off. Jesse, Jesse, welcome. Thanks for joining us. First of all, tell us about who you are, where you're situated, where you live, and just give us a little brief bio.
Yeah, so I'm a combat veteran. I started my career as an explosive ordnance disposal technician in the Air Force, which, if you don't know what EOD is, it's the military bomb squad. So I deployed all over the world, including Iraq and Afghanistan, where I received the Bronze Star. I was an active duty guy and a reservist. So during my reserve career, I also had employment with the TSA as an explosive specialist. I did a little stint with the FBI as a lead security specialist, but I just retired after 25 years of service. I live here in Athens. I have 2 kids. I say kids, they're in their 20s, but they're always going to be kids to me. I've been married for 29 years, and Alabama is home for me. And now that I've retired, I'm just looking to continue my service just in a different way.
Awesome, man. Thank you for your extensive service to this country, and we appreciate it. With that in mind, a lot of people that run for office with your background would choose to run as a Republican, not as a Democrat. Why are you running as a Democrat?
It's one of those, and I've heard that quite a bit. You should be running as a Republican, but the fact of the matter is, my morals and the way I align with are on the Democratic side. And the other part, I think that you're going to see more and more. You're going to see a lot more veterans, a lot more former federal employees that are going to be taking these types of steps and running for office. So it's I guess you could say a little unusual, but I think that you're going to start seeing a lot more of that as we go into the midterms.
Now that's an interesting observation. Do you believe that is because of the way the Trump administration has been, I think many of us would argue, mishandling the military and mishandling the Department of Justice and also our intelligence agencies?
I think it's all of that. And this last year as a federal employee was it was pretty interesting to say the least. And I was reading an article by New York Times that was talking about more federal employees now are getting out and running for office than previous years, because we've seen how we were treated under this current administration. So it's, we had all the cuts that came around the rifts, and people were applauding that left and right. And it's not something that was palatable to a lot of us. So more of us are moving towards that. And the other part is like a lot of us, even in the military, would align with the Democrat side. We just kind of kept it quiet for the most part because you have a majority of the folks that are on the Republican side. But what I'm finding more and more is, as I go out and say, hey, I'm a Democrat, I'm running for office, I've had friends come up to me and say, that's amazing. I always had to keep quiet, but you're giving me hope. So you're definitely changing stuff as we're going, and being vocal about it is key.
Yeah. Josh?
It's fortunate, I think, that we waited a week or two to have you on with what's happening. And because I want to get your perspective because I know your background. You were part of the Iraq invasion, and was a explosives expert over there, detonating IEDs. When you see what's happening now with Iran, I mean, I guess just in general, what were your first thoughts when you saw the fact that we were now we're making bombing runs, but the president and the other folks, his reality TV show guy in charge of this, is not promising that we're not going to put boots on the ground there, and we're not gonna and not saying when this thing could be over, which we've heard before. So what is kind of your thoughts about it?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we've had 6 service members that have already been killed, and as somebody who's deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, my wife was always sitting back home taking care of the family and everything, and she was always on pins and needles, knowing that I'm going into harm's way. And what we're seeing now, 4 service members were just killed over in Kuwait. There's 2 more that they haven't identified yet. These family members are looking at this and saying, what's going on? And so my heart goes out to these folks because I've been to a lot of military funerals and I've been to war and I've watched people get killed in action. It's not something that's pretty. But the problem that I'm trying to figure out, and I can't because there's so many different stories, is why are we going into Iran? Now, don't get me wrong, Iran is not a friend of the United States. They never have been. Their regime was killing their civilian population, and they've been involved in counter operations to the United States for decades. But when you try to figure out like what are we doing, why are we there, we get a new story every single day. Is it regime change? No, it's not regime change. Is it about nuclear weapons? Well, we obliterated the nuclear weapons, so now it's about this. Hey, they have so many conventional weapons that can shield them from us going in and taking care of the nuclear weapons. And then President Trump just yesterday said that he killed the Ayatollah before he could kill him. So what's the actual reason that we're on the ground? I can't figure it out. Now, did we need to take out Iran? Maybe through diplomacy or some other means, but we backed out of the Iran treaty. We, being the Trump administration, backed out of the Iran treaty several months ago, and we tried to figure out how to do a different thing that was kind of already working for the most part, and enforcing that. Instead, we just decided over the weekend to bomb Iran, and the civilian population is the one that are taking the brunt of this. We've had kids in schools that have been killed, innocent civilians killed, and now that they've got a new regime in, they're going to kill their own people. So it's just confusing to me, and I see a lot of parallels between the Iraq war and what we're doing right now. Even though they say this is not a forever war and this is not an Iraq war, there's a lot of things that look very similar to when I went to Iraq and very similar to when I went to Afghanistan. So I just, I think the administration owes the American people an answer as to what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah, and we heard the same thing about Iraq, over and over and over again. That it's just in and out. We'll be greeted like liberators, no problem. And I think more than that, they owe the folks who they're sending into harm's way a clear and concise message, a reason for why they're putting them in harm's way. And this kind of goes back to something you said a few minutes ago about there being so many Republicans within the military, or right-leaning folks within the military. I've never understood this. One of my best friends, that growing up in high school, is a major in the Army, and has is just he's a rah soldier guy, and we have just incredible arguments over why I'm just this is what you're telling me is bullshit, man. What are we talking about here? This is this rah sort of we're gonna kill everybody sort of thing. That I understand that it plays into the macho aspect, and there's a I think a reason for that. I think that it's useful at times to have that attitude and that mentality. I get that, I do, but at the same time, when you have a group of people who are saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Let's make sure that we're sending these folks into harm's way. And if we do send them, that we're going to give them the right equipment, the proper funding, we're going to do things the proper way. But so we're not risking lives to the maximum degree, instead of this. So what do you think it is about the Republican approach that appeals to so many service members?
That's yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and I don't really understand it either because I have the same conversations with all of my former military friends and law enforcement friends because I've worked in both communities for years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something I think they just appeal to their basal instincts of, like you said, that macho personality, that macho persona, and a lot of these folks that I talk to honestly have never been to war. So the people that are
Yeah.
cheering this on have never experienced some of the things that myself and other veterans have. If you've been to war, I mean, it's one of those you typically don't want to go back. It's not like a
Right.
five-star vacation or anything. It's something that you're on edge the entire time. I still to this day deal with issues from both my deployments in combat
Mm-hmm.
environments. So I don't understand it. And then I try to have, constructive conversations with the folks, but everything is so polarized now that you
Yeah.
almost can't. You can have conversations with certain people that are more central and moderate, but if you're so far on the right or so far on the left, you've got your talking points from Fox News or some of these other outlets that's what is beat into you.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing to me when I know these guys and I've worked with them for years, and they're like, yeah, we're at war again. Like, yeah, I never want to be at war again. I never want to see my
Yeah.
friends dying anymore. I never want to see another military funeral, having the caskets come back, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I want.
Yeah, no, it's the same arguments that I've had with my friend, and it's always the same. It's and
Yeah,
I where it's an argument with me about, well, yeah, a lot of Democrats wouldn't even let us go in and fight. I'm like, well, the Democrats said we need a reason to go in
yeah,
and do these things, and some of the reasons were, well, that's just nonsense. And it was just
yeah,
come on, man. But
yeah,
what has been in this area, I live. I would tell you that I lived in Athens, although my address tells you that my official address tells you I live in Madison,
yeah,
and possibly right around the corner is Huntsville at this
yeah.
point. So I don't really know,
It's
given
coming.
the way they've annexed everything here. But
Yeah,
I say, my daughter goes to what I would have to have been considered just a few years ago a rural elementary school, public
right.
school, and in this county, in Limestone County, and I have been shocked by the number of uh, left-leaning people,
Yeah.
progressive folks in this area. Many of them who have recently moved in here, but even more than that, I think a lot of people who have been influenced by this change. So, what has been kind of your experience since you've been running with the folks in Athens?
It's exactly what you're talking about. I'm surprised that there are so many left-leaning folks that are here. We have meetings every month for the Limestone County Democrats, and every month we're getting more and more people that are showing up. There's other events like the ones that I saw you guys at where the building was full
Yeah,
with people that felt the same way, and I think it's a combination of things. It's one, you've got a small contingent of people that have always been Democrat in this area. You've also got a group of people that are coming into the area now that we have Space Command and the arsenal's been built out. The FBI is coming down here, ATF, all these different entities that are coming from different areas that have different experience and different viewpoints that are adding to that. And then the last thing is people are tired of the way things are going, and tired of the right side. So they're coming out more. I'm being more vocal. I have friends that are being more vocal, and I'm telling all my friends that privately text me. I'm like, hey, put your views out there, man. We need more people to speak up and speak out against that. So as I go around, I find that there's a lot more people that are willing to listen. Um, and not just stick in their trenches on this one side, you know.
Yeah. 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 Last thing for me, and then see if David has anything else for you. What's at this point, at some point, it's going to be a race between you and Danny Crawford.
Hmm.
What's the difference? What do you tell people? What do you say that he can't do that you can? And how big of a crazy person is he? And and what how will he destroy the rest of this area, District 5, if you don't let him? If y'all put him back in office?
Well, I mean, what I bring to the table is just leadership in general. I mean, it's one of those, like, I've been a leader in the military and in federal government for a long time, so I understand budgets. I understand how to get people to figure out the right path on which way to go. As far as Danny, I don't know a lot about him. I know he's been in the seat for quite a while. He has a farming background, which is great. But as far as the wealth of experience and everything that I have, he doesn't have that. And when you look at how are they going to hurt District 5 or anything. I mean, the Democrats have been in power in a supermajority since like 2011. And what has happened since then? Healthcare has gone down. Healthcare
You mean the
access has gone
Republicans,
down.
right? Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Republicans, I'm sorry,
So,
yes, the
so
Republicans have been in power since
yeah.
2011. So you got to look at what has actually been going on in our state since then, and there's not a lot. Right now, it's a lot of performative, banning chemtrails and renaming and making sure it's the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. So they're not doing anything to help people. They're giving out a tax-free holiday on guns and ammo. Is that something we really need? And you need to ask yourself these questions as you go in and research the candidates and figure out, like, what are they working on? Are they actually working on the things that matter, like affordability, healthcare, housing? Those are the things that I care about. Veteran services. We've made a lot of strides when it comes to veteran services over the past couple of years, but we still have one of the highest suicide rates among veterans in anywhere else in the country. And that's something that I'm passionate about. I volunteer with a lot of different nonprofit groups, and I'm actually on the board of one, and our goal is to end veteran suicide. So I've seen some things that happen, but all these issues, the real big issues, they're just slapping a Band-Aid on it and saying, we'll get it, in the next year or 2 years or 3 years. Just reelect me now and trust me, I'll get to it. And that's the problem systemically that we've seen across all the board when it comes to the Republicans. So I want change. I want to get rid of all the rhetoric. I want to work with everybody that we can to make actual change within our state.
Just a couple of final questions, Jesse.
Mhm.
One, as you are campaigning throughout your district, what are you hearing from people in terms of what they say the pressing issues are?
Number one is affordability. People are having a hard time. They look at their grocery prices, they look at the rising prices of everything, and they're having a hard time, just trying to make it. I even had Bobby Martin, who's running for Senate in District 6, the state Senate in District 6. He says a lot of his people are saying it's not just about affordability, it's about survivability. So it's something that, we have to fix. There's a couple of options that are on the table, but we need to look at all those and say, how can we make everything more affordable? Housing, is a little bit more difficult because we have to address that at the federal and the state level, but there are things that we can do. So overall, utility bills, grocery prices, healthcare, housing, those are the big issues that come up every time. And that's whether you're a younger, person. We have one of our young Democrats that comes to the meeting, and she talks about how she doesn't know if she's ever going to own a house because of the skyrocketing prices and everything. So all of that we have to address. And we're not addressing that pretty much at all with any of the legislative actions that I've seen.
Mhm. So, final question. In
Mm.
terms of legislative action, what specific ideas do you have that you think can address some of those issues, or maybe some other issue that you haven't yet mentioned?
Yeah, so we can look at groceries and doing away with the state tax for groceries. If we get rid of that, you should be taxed on feeding yourself. That's something that I think that we can get away with, and or do away with. That way, it makes it a little easier for everyday families. The other thing with healthcare, expanding Medicaid to give more healthcare resources to, it's upwards of 200,000 Alabamians. The healthier you are, the more apt you are to be able to contribute to the state, to work and things of that nature, and be able to afford more stuff. But we also need to look at providing training to folks to adequately address the job markets that are near our areas. You know, we just need to look at other ways. We've got all these companies that are coming in, but a lot of times they're bringing their own people from out of state, and so we need to provide them the opportunity to actually train to those demands and actually get those jobs that are coming down here.
Jesse,
And I'm open
yeah,
to any other ideas as well, because it's, you know, I
okay.
want to listen to as many people as I can. I don't have the answers for everything, and I don't think anybody does. If anybody says that, they're kidding themselves. But you know, as a bomb technician and as a government employee for years, it wasn't just me that made the decisions. I relied on my team to help me, and that's what I need from all my constituents and everybody else is give me your ideas. I want to hear what works and then maybe what doesn't work in other areas.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, man, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know, what you're doing, what you've done,
Mhm.
and for running for office, and also for coming on and spending some time with us today. You know, we're hopeful, man. We're hopeful. Keep beating those bushes and shaking the
Yeah.
hands and kissing babies, and you know, and we'll keep pulling for you and doing whatever we can around here. So, but hey,
Awesome.
that is Jesse Barcala. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right, we're going to slide out. We'll come back in just a minute. It's Alabama Politics This Week. Back in a moment.